With a statewide audience watching, Governor Greg Abbott makes a vow to push for school choice.
Some parents are hindered in being able to help their child succeed. That must change this year.
The governor's plan to give parents more power and the mixed response it's receiving. A leaked conversation reveals a high-level Texas Education Agency employee talking about the cost of school choice, what public districts could lose if it happens.
We'd like to see change. We'd like to help be agents of change.
From a family's fight to make a difference after a loved one was abused, to leaders now looking at legislation, how it could help speed up change for nursing homes and assisted living facilities in Texas.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Josh Hinkle. Governor Abbott officially laid out his list of emergency items for lawmakers to tackle this session. He gave his State of the State address Thursday night. Traditionally, the address happens in the Texas House chambers, but for the second time in as many sessions, the governor took the address away from the Capitol. He delivered the speech at Novion Magnetics. That's a cutting-edge manufacturing facility in San Marcos. The governor touted the state's economy and called for continued investment in workforce skills programs to create a stronger pipeline for high-paying jobs. The governor named 7 emergency items in his address: cutting property taxes, ending COVID restrictions, school choice, school safety, bail reform, border security, and addressing what he calls the fentanyl crisis. The governor gave a full endorsement of school choice. He outlined a plan for state funding to empower parents to have more of a say in what their children learn. Abbott called it education freedom.
Without that freedom, some parents are hindered in being able to help their child succeed. That must change this year. The way to do that is with school choice through state-funded education savings accounts. We've seen them work in other states, and we've also seen them work right here in the state of Texas. I created education savings accounts for special needs students. It worked so well, a bipartisan supermajority passed it into law and are now seeking to increase funding for it. Now what we need to do, we want to expand that program to provide every parent with the ability to choose the best education option for their child. To be perfectly clear, under this school choice program, all public schools will be fully funded for every student. This issue is so vital to the future of our state. I'm making education freedom an emergency item this session.
You heard the governor mention education savings accounts. Those are a little different than traditional school vouchers. Traditional vouchers allow parents to use public funding to pay tuition at a private school. Education savings accounts also use public funds but have more flexibility. The money can go toward private school tuition but can also pay for other approved educational expenses like tutoring or online courses. Regardless of the plan, Democrats have vowed to fight any legislation that could take funding away from public schools.
We have about $59 billion in our combined checking and savings account. If the governor wants to talk about anything, he should talk about bringing more money to education. Then we have room to talk about diverse ideas of how we educate our kids. But if he's telling me that we're going to rob our public schools in order to come up with some new idea that he thinks will help him, get elected to national office, well, if vouchers are his dream, well, then the Democratic caucus will be his nightmare.
Plans for education savings accounts and vouchers have failed to pass the House in previous sessions, but this year could be different. Capitol correspondent Monica Madden asked House Speaker Dade Phelan about the outlook for school vouchers.
Your public education committee, you appointed several members who have been opposed to school vouchers in the past. Are school vouchers dead upon arrival in the House?
No, not at all. There's going to be a very meaningful discussion on school vouchers. If you ask 149 House members out there on the floor what school choice means to them, you're going to get 149 different responses. It's going to come down to whether or not it has the votes in the Texas House. In the past, it has not. And the appointment of that committee was not reflective of that. There were members who were interested in having those discussions.
In the Senate, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick has pledged to pass a school choice bill. He listed it among his top 10 priorities for the session. You heard the governor say that public schools would be fully funded under his school choice plan, but in new leaked audio, a high-ranking Texas Education Agency official can be heard admitting that school choice would likely decrease funding for the state's public schools. Investigator Kelly Wiley obtained the audio and tells us how education leaders are reacting.
A leaked phone call between a parent and a deputy commissioner at the Texas Education Agency. In the call, Deputy Commissioner Steve Leschlow advocates for the school voucher program in Texas, while admitting it would likely financially hurt public school districts.
Traditional public school districts are getting less money, but there are no detrimental impacts on actual student learning that are associated with that money, right? So school districts, what they have to do is just be smart about if they lose students, be smart about how they allocate the resources. And maybe that's one less fourth grade teacher.
Officials with the Texas Education Agency have not said if Leschlow will face reprimand over the phone call, but said in part the deputy commissioner was referring to schools staffing strategically while preserving good student-teacher ratios, not staff layoffs, and said ultimately any decision related to the broader topic in question will be made by the legislature. In the call, Leschlow also asked the parent if he can give their contact information to Governor Abbott's speechwriter. The Association of Texas Professional Educators say they were shocked at the call.
We continue to hear from pro-voucher advocates is that voucher systems aren't going to hurt the public school system. And yet you heard this TEA official in trying to groom and recruit someone to speak on their behalf, candidly admitting that, in fact, a voucher program is going to likely defund public schools, and that's just a thing that public schools would have to deal with.
Kelly Wiley, State of Texas.
Lechelup, the man you heard in the phone call, is the Deputy Commissioner of Governance for TEA. He's responsible for improving the overall system performance of local education agencies. We reached out to TEA and they sent us a statement. It said the agency supports students having access to high quality education and actively supports public schools systems.
It seems like the right place where we want to trust somebody to take care of mom.
A family's plea following an abuse investigation inside a Texas assisted living facility. Why more homes aren't penalized after.